The promulgation of the new constitution on 27th August 2010 was no doubt a highlight of the Kibaki presidency after years of false starts. But 50 years before this ecstatic constitutional overhaul, Kenya had to negotiate its constitutional framework and independence between 1960 and 1963. The negotiations took place at the Lancaster House in London. John Keane, the then KANU National Organizing Secretary, was in the delegation that accompanied President Jomo Kenyatta to the Lancaster Conference.
We had a very pleasant time in London. The only problem when we were flying to London, I sat very close to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. The moment there is air turbulence, Kenyatta freezes almost to death. He didn't like flying at all. He was not even going to Mombasa. He preferred to go by car.
It was the last meeting in 1963 that eventually bore the constitution that ended more than 70 years of British colonial rule in Kenya.
The Lancaster House Constitution was to give finally independence to Kenya.
And soon after attaining freedom, several amendments were made to the Independence Constitution. There were reportedly 12 constitutional amendments during President Kenyatta's tenure. The changes were to reflect the political, constitutional, economic and social aspirations of Kenyans. The first amendment to the Constitution changed the structure of the Lancaster Constitution in several ways. First, it made Kenya a republic. Second, the president became both head of state and government. And third, it established the office of the vice president to be appointed by the president. Following the Little General Election of 1966, the standing orders of Parliament were amended to provide that an opposition party was only recognized if it had at least 30 MPs. The amendment that followed expanded the emergency powers of the president to act whenever the president considered the security of the state was threatened. This amendment was enhanced by the Preservation of Public Security Act as well as the sedition and subversion laws under the Penal Code. The amendment introduced detention without trial. Keane, who had turned into an aggressive revolutionary, became one of the first people to taste the brunt of the law.
In all sincerity, I said on the floor of the House, I was a member of the East African Central Legislative Council. My main thing is I wanted a federal system of government of East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. But that did not augur very well with the heads of state, because I said openly that they should be overthrown. Kenyatta should be overthrown. Obote should be overthrown. Nyerere should be overthrown. And so Kenyatta used the same colonial detention laws that detained him and jailed him to jail John Keane without trial.
In December 1966, another amendment was made to abolish the remains of regionalism and dual legislative system. This amendment amalgamated the upper with the lower houses of the National Assembly by effectively abolishing the Senate. The Senate has since been reintroduced through the current constitution. The provinces were placed under the administration or governance of the provincial commissioner.
Kenyatta and Moi used provincial administration to rule the country, because as opposed to party politics.
The 11th Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18 years. In addition, there was the amendment introducing the official language as Kiswahili. A further amendment introduced the second official language in 1975 as English. Between 1975 and 1977, however, a Change the Constitution movement attempted to amend the Constitution to bar the vice president from automatically succeeding the president in the event of incapacitation or death. The move, however, failed, and when Kenyatta died in August 1978, the succession took place under the old rules, with Vice President Daniel Moi assuming the office. Sylvia Chebet, Citizen Live at 9.